Hi INFJs and autistic INFJs, welcome back to my channel. One of the biggest reasons INFJs and autistic INFJs struggle to be successful isn't because we aren't capable. It's because we expect things to go exactly as we planned. And when they don't, we automatically think that we failed, and then just like that, we quit. Sound familiar? For me, definitely does. So have you ever put your heart into something? Maybe it was a job or a creative project or even a relationship. And the second it didn't go how you imagined, you felt like a failure and started beating up on yourself, coming down on yourself, and that lovely inner voice started telling you how good you're not, right? Like, well, this clearly wasn't for me, and sadly we move on. I've been there many times. I can totally relate to that. The INFJ who actually succeeds at what they want in life, they aren't necessarily the most talented or even the most confident, if you can believe that. I used to think it was confidence. I needed the confidence, and I would sit and wait for it, and it would never come. They are the ones, the successful INFJs, they are the ones who know how to drop their expectations and shift their mindset. And today, in the second video of my 3-part series, INFJ Success Blueprint, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So welcome to my channel. If we haven't met before, my name's Trina. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel with hopes of helping people like myself feel seen, heard, and understood. And I wanted somewhere I could share resources because resources can be difficult to find for INFJs, especially resources at work. So there's a resource section in the description of this video if you want to see some of the things that I like to share that I know worked for me and I know can work for other people. So welcome to my channel. I also help INFJs heal their self-love and get a level of self-acceptance through coaching, classes, and community. I hope you find my channel helpful. I'm very glad that you found it. If you're returning, welcome back. I invite you, if you haven't yet, to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate the support. All right, one thing, INFJ meet and greet. INFJ virtual meet and greet. Registration is open for March. If you want to meet up with other INFJs and autistic INFJs and just talk about INFJ life and connect and make some awesome friends. Guys, this is my favorite thing. I love the INFJ meet and greet. We meet for about an hour to an hour and a half, talk about all things INFJ, feel like we can relate to other people's stories so we're not like the only one in the world, and not feel judged. That was huge for me. This is a place to be. If you want more information of it, I've got 2 dates to accommodate different time zones. Link is in the description of this video to find out more information about it. Okay, let's get into this. Why do INFJs have these expectations for how things should be? Well, we don't just make a plan. We see it completely play out in our minds, like a video or a movie. It's like a movie for me. I'll see it completely play out in my mind. Basically, we pre-experience everything thanks to our introverted intuition. It's a powerhouse. It's a gift. But if we're not mindful and understand how it works, it can keep us stuck. This makes us attach deep emotional attachments to specific outcomes that we think are going to happen. Next, we mistake our vision for a guarantee because we can see it play out. And I mean, it seems real. For me, like I say, I see it like a movie playing out in my head, and it seems really real, doesn't it? If you can relate to that, I don't know. Do you see it like a movie? I'm curious if other INFJs see it like a movie. You know, if you're going to go and do something and you're thinking about how it's going to turn out, is it like a movie or is it a picture? I'm curious. Anyway, we get this strong gut feeling that something should work out in a certain way. We assume that since we see that path clearly in our mind, reality will unfold accordingly. But life isn't a script. No, life isn't like that. It's an improvisation, right? We know that. We clearly know that life doesn't go as planned ever, yet we still do this thanks to our introverted intuition. And the more we try to control it, the more frustrated we become, right? So we need to learn to let go of that control. We take setbacks personally. I know I used to. I used to take them very personally, and they would cut very deep. When something doesn't go as we visioned, we don't just see it as an external event, we internalize it. It's that knife getting pushed right in there. I used to internalize it so bad that it felt, I would say to myself, oh, there, I just proved all those people right that used to tell me how stupid I was, how incompetent I was, how weird I was, all of that. And that was my worst fear, was proving them all right. The ones that, oh, you can't do that. You could never do that. People like you don't succeed. That was my worst fear, of proving them right. So I really internalize setbacks. If this fails, does this mean I'm not good enough? Did I misread signs? I was so stupid to even try. Those are common things that we think. Does that sound familiar? The more personal the failure feels, the more we avoid taking risks in the future. So every failure felt personal for me, because I was just like, for some reason, every failure I believed was proving all those people right that said nasty things to me my entire life. And it made me feel really horrible about myself. So I wouldn't take any risks at all. None. So why is this even harder for autistic INFJs? We are a recipe for overwhelm with our rigid thinking and our high expectations. We tend to have black and white thinking, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Which makes it hard to accept when things don't match our expectations. If this doesn't work out how I pictured it, then it was a mistake and I failed yet again. That was a common one that I would have. So I wouldn't do it. I would be too scared. Uncertainty is also stressful for us. For me, very much so. If you watched my first video to this series where I talked about the inferiority complex, I talk about uncertainty and unpredictability with autistic INFJs, and I shared that I'm trying to become friends with it and trying to like it, and I will let you know how it goes, because I've been working on it for years and I still struggle with it, but it's getting better. So we prefer to have clear outcomes. Definitely. I definitely prefer that. And when the outcome shifts, it feels destabilizing, which then it can often trigger emotional overwhelm, shutdowns, and even meltdowns. Did you know that? That's interesting, isn't it? Depending on the situation and our coping capacity at that given moment. And those are all nasty things to experience, and we don't want to experience them. So quite often, it will slow us down, right? Who wants to experience things that make us feel really uncomfortable? So if you've ever felt like you can't move forward unless you know exactly what's going to happen, this is not you being weak, okay? It's not you being weak. This is just how our brains process uncertainty. That's all it is. And knowing that takes power away from that. Just for me, knowing when it comes up and the unknown is there and it looks like a really dark cave to me and I get kind of scared, but it's a risk I kind of want to take because I know that if I take this risk, it's going to move me to higher level performance and that's what I want to be. And then I step back and say, you know what, Trina, this is just how your brain is processing uncertainty. That's all it's doing what it's supposed to be doing because it's just wired that way. So let's just go with it. And it took the power away from it. Just knowing. It took the power away. Was I scared? Yes. Still am, of course. But I drop all expectations. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So now I get excited. I get a little bit excited. And I get really excited, actually. I'm going to admit it. I get really excited and scared. You can be scared and excited at the same time. And that's okay. Okay, where am I? Okay, lost it with my notes. I have my little notes written up here. Past failures cut deep. Even deeper for us. Remember I was talking about past failures, how they cut deep because we internalize them? If you're an autistic INFJ, this cuts even deeper. So rejection sensitive INFJs, we already struggle with self-doubt. But when you put autism in there, past failures don't fade easily. we will keep replaying that over and over and stabbing ourselves over and over with that hurt. We carry them as proof that we shouldn't try again. That's what we will do when we will think, I'm not good enough. And then we think, okay, you know what? There's that nasty narrative. Who told me I wasn't good enough? Where did this story come from? So we find out where the story came from, and then we'll say, but was it true? And our brains are like, yeah, it was true because here's the proof. That's what I'm talking about, is those past failures cut deep, and we carry them as proof so that we shouldn't even try. We shouldn't even try. We feel that when this is proof, we should try again. We feel that we are an embarrassment, and we were an embarrassment before, and we're still an embarrassment now, so we're not even going to try again, which makes us even more resistant to new experiences. I used to think I was a huge embarrassment. I used to feel bad for my family because I was sure that they were so embarrassed to be related to me, even though not once did they ever say that. This was just my past failures cutting deep that I was carrying as proof, and I made a story up about it. I thought that I was such an embarrassment that I would feel embarrassed for my family when they had to be seen in public with me. And I'm not even lying about that. It's not even a story I made up. It's for real. I was embarrassed for my family when they had to be seen in public with me. So I would stay small, try to stay invisible so nobody would notice me, so my family wouldn't have to be near as embarrassed. Horrible! Horrible, isn't it? It's interesting how all these things play out and add to it. Anyway, it also keeps us from trying new experiences. That was a little off topic, but I had to share that story. This is why breaking free from expectations isn't just helpful. It's essential if we ever want to feel free and take action. So as an autistic INFJ, when we create or we see these outcomes that we think are going to happen, and because life is unpredictable, chances are the outcome isn't going to happen how we see it, but we think it's going to because we can see it clearly, right? Remember, all of this plays into it, and it doesn't happen as it should. We take that as a failure, and we carry that with us so that when other things come up in life, we're like, oh, here's the proof. And we open this big, huge book of failures that we have, and we start flipping the page and reading it to ourselves like, this is why you're not good enough and why you shouldn't try anything. And tell you, my book was huge, like huge. And I could flip through those pages like you wouldn't believe. In theory, there wasn't really a book, but you know what I mean. It's I don't even remember what the word I'm looking for. Oh, well. Anyway, you get it. You get it. I lost my words. Cool. So making the shift. How do we shift from this? This was huge for me when I realized, okay, this is cool. How do I do this? So number one, and this is probably the most powerful one out of them all, and I still use this to this day. See life as an experiment, not a pass-fail test. We tend to see it as a pass-fail test because that's what we do. So when we see it that way, say, no, it's an experiment. Or better yet, this is how I see it. Think of it as a canvas, because INFJs and autistic INFJs, even if you were told you weren't creative, you are very creative. I was told I wasn't creative. I had nothing to offer. I was pathetic and useless. And yes, family did tell me that. I had no talent. That's what I was told. Anyway, they were wrong. I won't get into it. But anyway, we are some of the most creative people. This is why the canvas idea works better for me than just thinking of an experiment. But if experiment works for you, run with it. Whatever works for you. Think of it as a canvas where you're just going to create and see what happens. Do you see how it's like exciting? The unknown, which is also scary, but you can be scary and excited at the same time. If it goes in a way you didn't want it, oh, big deal. We can just simply flip that canvas over, or you can grab a new canvas, whatever you want to do, and start again. Go with the idea of, instead of thinking, okay, this is the outcome that I really want to have, think of it as, I wonder what will happen if I try this. And I say this to myself, and I actually say it out loud, because INFJs, did you know, for us to truly process something and understand it, we need to say it out loud. So I'll say it out loud. I wonder what will happen if I try, blah, 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 blah. Or if it didn't go like I kind of wanted it to go, even though I drop expectations, there's still that risk of disappointment because that's just part of life. Instead of coming down on myself and automatically thinking I failed, the first thing I say to myself is, what can I learn from this? No matter how it turned out, what can I learn from it? And I guarantee there's always something we can learn from it. And usually it's something very positive. Actually, you know what? Even if it's negative, it's positive because it's something that we learned from it that we can take with us. So now we know how that's not going to work. At least we know that that part doesn't work. So now we can move on. I can't remember. Was it Thomas Edison? Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. I can't remember who said it, but anyway, when we fail, it was just, we know now how many ways this just doesn't work. So I don't remember the quote completely, but that's what it is. If we fail 1,000 times, now we know 1,000 ways that this just won't work. So that's less we need to worry about, and we can find the way it works. And I believe it was Thomas Edison that said that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody said it. I don't think it was Albert Einstein. I'm pretty sure it was Thomas Edison. Anyway, this is a good thing to live by. Wonder what will happen if I try this. What if? What's going to happen? And then if it doesn't go as planned, what did I learn from this? That's so powerful. INFJs thrive when we approach life as a story unfolding rather than a script that we have to follow perfectly. And that's, I actually shifted my inner vision because I see things. I think that I think in pictures. This is a new concept to me. Anyway, I can see it. And that's exactly how I thought life was, is a script that we needed to follow, very rigid script. And now I see it as a story unfolding, and I can actually see like just the pages flip over. And if it didn't work, then you know what? I see it like a new chapter. Maybe it's because I'm a writer, I see it that way. But if it didn't work out as planned, okay, well, that's okay. We're going to start a new chapter and see where this chapter takes us. No big deal. Number 2, focus on what you can control. This is another huge one. The problem with expectations is they're usually tied to things outside of our control. That's huge. And we will sit and worry about it and beat ourselves up about it, and we could never control it in the first place. It's kind of silly when you think about it, right? But we all do it. It's part of who we are. So instead of expecting certain results, shift your focus on what is in your hands. What is in my hands? My effort is in my hands. I can control my effort. What can I do to give this my best shot? That is in my control. My attitude is in my control. I can control that. How can I stay open and flexible about this? Well, a good way is, let's just see what happens. Let's see where this is going to take me. If it doesn't work out, oh well. What did I learn from it? Now I know how it doesn't work, so let's do it again, and I can try something different. My takeaway, even if it didn't go as planned, like I just said, this is in my hands. What did I gain from it? This is in our control, something we can control. Detach your worth from the outcome is number 3. Detach your worth from the outcome. Whatever the outcome is, has nothing to do with your worth. Be grateful that you tried it, because lots of people won't even try. Did you know that? So give yourself a pat on the back, even if it didn't work out even close to what you thought. Give yourself a pat on the back. You tried. That's huge. We tend to see failure as reflections of our own value. I did. All my failures I thought was a reflection of who I was, and it's not. Not at all. Has nothing to do with that. The most successful INFJs aren't the ones who never fail. They have failed a ton, trust me. They have failed a ton. Probably more failures than successes, to be honest with you. I have failed so much. That's okay. They are the ones, the successful INFJs, they are the ones who refuse to take failures personally. Sometimes now I look forward to failing because I learned so much from it. But see, I don't think of failing as failing anymore. It's what I'm going to learn from it, and I love learning. INFJs love learning. I thrive when I learn. So if it didn't go as planned, okay, well, what did I learn from this? An opportunity to learn something, and I get excited about this. I did not internalize it. I didn't let it impact my self-worth because it had nothing to do with that. In fact, it boosted my self-worth because I just learned something from it. And yay to me. I'm a huge brain person. That sounds funny. No, my brain is not huge. I really like learning about my brain and brain health. And I follow a guy named Jim Quick. I've mentioned him on other videos. I do believe he's called The Brain Guy. He's on YouTube. I also follow him on Instagram because I really like listening to his content. And he talks about learning as like exercise for your brain. It's one of the best things you can do for your brain to keep your brain healthy and in good working order. Anyway, learning. So when I don't succeed at something that I think it should go a certain way, I get excited. Okay, what did I learn about this? Because now I'm making my brain even healthier, right? It's like I'm multitasking and I get really excited about this. For one, I tried what I wanted to do. For two, now I get to learn. So it's multitasking, not a failure at all. It's like a bonus. What if every failure was just another interesting chapter in your story instead of the end? Something to think about. You don't have to stay stuck in disappointment. We don't have to stay stuck in disappointment anymore. The more we release expectations, the more we actually open ourselves up to success. Because we no longer are paralyzed with the fear of things not going perfectly as we planned or as we think they should. With that fear that, oh, we're going to fail. We have such a strong fear of failure, and this will really help shifting it. So this week, I invite you to try something without expectations. It can be something small. Maybe it's a new exercise program you want to try, or a new creative project you want to try. Maybe it's a painting that you've been thinking about painting, or maybe you want to head out to the forest and try meditating under a tree, forest therapy, because that is so much fun. Focus on the experience. That's the key. Focus on the experience. Detach from any outcomes and just see what happens. See where it takes you. Get curious. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if it was helpful. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Again, if you're interested in the INFJ meet and greet, the link is in the description of this video. I invite you to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate the support, and feel free to share this. The more times it's shared, the more INFJs we get to help, and that's what it's really all about. And remember, when you're going out there and you're going to do something, have no expectations. None at all. I don't have any expectations for anything I do anymore. I drop it all and I just see where it's going to take me. And yep, it's scary, but I'm excited because again, we can be scared and excited at the same time. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you very soon with my third video in this 3-part series. See you later. Bye for now.